I'm here with Laxson again, and today we're talking about how to choose a quality tutor. By the end of this video, you're going to know that when you hire a tutor for your dyslexic child, you're going to get your money's worth, you're not going to waste your time, and your child is going to be making progress in their reading. So Hillary, how do we choose a tutor?
I'm going to tell you the number one secret about hiring an Orton-Gillingham trained tutor is to check the source of where you got the tutor from, right? So if you're asking for advice about a dyslexic child, I would ask people who have kids who are dyslexic, because most, quote, normal parents don't know anything about dyslexia. There might be some teachers and speech language pathologists that do, but you need to make sure you're asking someone who knows about dyslexia. There's two categories of things you're looking for. One is, was the person trained on the system that they're using? So for example, Barton, you actually get like a certificate that you've taken the class from Barton on how to use the booklets and the technology with the kid and how you score, their progress and such like that. So that's system certification is what it's called. And then the other certification has to do with basically like how educated you are. So how many hours of training did you do in the Barton system? How many hours with a kid one-on-one did you do? How many hours did you sit in a classroom? How many hours did you work, with a highly trained teacher, which is usually a fellow? How many hours did you do with them? And those are the big things. And what the mistake parents often make is that they go looking for a tutor and they hire someone who knows nothing about dyslexia, like literally nothing.
Why would they even be a tutor in that situation?
Well, I think in general, people in education mean well. We don't think that schools purposely don't give kids stuff. And we, in general, think people that are tutors do it because they like kids and they want to help. They just don't know any better. They lack training and they don't realize how a dyslexic's brain works in comparison to somebody else.
If a person's going to go get certified as a tutor, what are the steps they need to take? Because that's what we want to look for when we hire a tutor.
There's two schools of thought. Like one's, a lot of people hire, moms, stay-at-home moms. Some of the stay-at-home moms are sometimes retired special ed teachers. Some of them are stay-at-home moms that just learned to tutor because their kid was dyslexic. And then there's people that are professional. Like anything in life, the more you pay in general means you get somebody who's more qualified and more trained. If your kid is 5, right, and he's just not reading, you might can hire the person that's the mom that's not as trained. But often with dyslexia, what happens is no one knows the child's dyslexic until they're like 6th grade. And in that case, you need the most qualified person you can find because you're going to make progress as fast as possible.
Okay, let's pretend that I'm a prospective tutor and you want to hire me. How would that interview go?
Before I even talked to you on the phone, I would have asked if you had references to other parents that were willing to talk to me. Normally, a good, reputable tutor has references to give you before you even talk to them, and you can vet them out. Then I also say that you need to look and see, are they running like a legit business, right? And by that, I mean, did they spend the time to make a Facebook page? Did they spend the time to get a basic website? Do people know who this person is in the town that you're in or in the state? Because I can tell you, like, the people who are well known as tutors in geographical areas, people know who they are.
And they have some kind of online presence.
Correct. And I'm not saying you need a $20,000 website. It could be a WordPress site with 4 pages. But at least, to me, that shows that they intend to stay here for the long term. Because the number one thing about tutoring people with dyslexia is it's a long-term, thing. It's a long-term problem. So you don't want to hire somebody that's like going to do it for the summer and then go away, because what happens to your kid? They spent the summer forming a bond with this person, and then you basically took them away.
And I guess on their website, they should say all of those things that you mentioned, right?
Right. And normally when you're talking about dyslexia, like for Wilson, the Wilson system specifically, you have to have a bachelor's degree. So if you're a parent and you want to teach your kid Wilson and you don't have a degree when you start, you can get the certification, but you have to have a bachelor's degree before they'll give you the certificate. The other thing you're looking for is how many kids is this person tutoring? How long have they been tutoring? Another thing I think that's overlooked by parents with tutors is I actually pay extra every month, like $50, I believe, to collect data. And the reason that I do that is so I know where my child is going or where they started and where they're trying to go. I think my closing tip on Orton-Gillingham is if you're a parent whose kid has dyslexia and they've been identified or you're pretty sure they have dyslexia, you want a tutor that's been trained in Orton-Gillingham using Barton or Wilson or Take Flight or one of those. You want somebody who's been doing it for a while. If you have a child that's older, if you have a child that's younger, you can get a special ed teacher who's trying to make extra money, at night tutoring kids. Mm-hmm. It just depends, but you got to make sure they have the training because honestly, you might spend less money long-term on a more expensive tutor than paying a less experienced tutor longer.
Oh, that brings up another question. How long do you want to keep your child in tutoring? Until they've caught up with their peers? I mean, do you need to keep going after they've closed the learning gap?
Most people believe that dyslexic children should get those 2 hours until they're at an 8th grade level because the average American reads at an 8th grade level. Okay. So you're trying to get to the 8th grade level for a dyslexic. When I think another misstep, I guess, that parents make is that they start and stop. Dyslexia is, a long-term problem. It's a long-term gain. Yeah. And I think when you hire a tutor, you have to make sure that you can afford to continue doing it long-term because say you can afford to do it for 3 months, then you tutor Jacob for 3 months, and then you go, oh no, I don't have any more money for Jacob, and you stop. Mm-hmm. Well, he's going to lose all those 3 months. You'd be better off to go twice a week longer and keep going. You can't start and stop. You can't stop in the summer. My kid goes year round. I take off a week at Christmas, and I take off a week in the summer, and that is it. And that is why I've closed the gap.
Oh, okay. That's good advice. Thank you for all of your good advice. Once again, please subscribe to my channel and like Hillary's Facebook page. Let us know any comments or suggestions you have, any information you want to add to this, leave it in the comments below. And that's it for today's video. Thanks again, Hillary.
Bye.